Hello everyone! Welcome back to another one of my videos. My name is V. This is Critical Healing Moment, and if this is the first time that you are watching one of my videos, what do I make videos on? I make videos about social work, social justice, grad school, gardening, bullet journaling from time to time, but most importantly, healing our social movements. This video is filmed with an acute sense of urgency because I was on my lunch break. No, it wasn't even my lunch break. It was my 15-minute break at work that is required by law. And I watched yet another one of those I do not dream of labor videos. And I got heated because I feel like there's so much that has not been said about this trend and what people are actually meaning or implying as solutions to labor exploitation. And so I really wanted to sit down and make a video about this. So much that on my drive home from work, I just started recording myself rambling, and it resulted in these notes. One of the things that I was debating on was whether I actually wanted to make a video on this topic, because I have another video on my channel called There Are No Dream Jobs, and it's a bullet journal unscripted video, so it might not appeal to everyone because it's kind of me talking over doing our bullet journal spread. But as I mentioned in that video, this is a topic that I've been wanting to make a video about before I even made a YouTube channel, because this is just something I've thought about for a very long time. So for once, a YouTube trend is something that I feel very experienced and nuanced enough to add to the conversation. I feel like I have a perspective that is worth sharing. And so here we are, we're getting into this, and hopefully this is not going to be too long of a video because I just need to get it done and over with so that I can just move on with my life and just feel better, because I'm just so annoyed at what people are saying about labor and just misunderstanding capitalism and perpetuating all these ideas. So I don't really have any resources for you all, but I do have some questions to think about at the end. So make sure you stick to the end of my video and let's just get on with it. So I just want to first sort of set the stage for what I see when I watch these I do not dream of labor videos. What I see is a person who is capable of making income passively on the internet through content creation, talking about not wanting to work a 9-to-5. And I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that. However, to propose that this is a revolutionary concept or an anti-capitalist concept just really rubs me the wrong way. So what I sort of see in a lot of these videos, either through the actual solutions that people suggest to take to sort of free yourself from your alienated labor, and also sort of implied in the context of who is creating this content, is that they see passive income as a solution to providing their labor for a capitalist, essentially. I see this as the problem with passive income as a solution. One of the ideas that I feel like the suggestion to leave your corporate job to, be your own boss kind of implies is that working for someone is immoral to capitalism because you are now just participating in capitalism. Now, that's a very individualistic way of thinking about ending capitalism, because we cannot put the onus on the individual to quit their job and divest themselves from capitalism. That is just really irresponsible, because only the most privileged people can do that. You're not gonna say that to someone who is not gonna have access to the resources to even make a successful online business that generates passive income. Like, some people out there don't even have access to regular internet, okay? So we can't be using that as a solution for everyone. So I just wanted to address that first. The morality of the issue, or like sort of the moral stances on, working for someone versus working for yourself, okay? And then secondly, I want to talk about passive income, and more specifically YouTube's business model, and how people don't really see that as labor when it actually is. So in the traditional, I guess, Marxist sense of things, if you're a worker, you have to sell your labor. That's the only thing that you have, your body, your labor, to a capitalist in order to make money to survive. Okay, so being a worker means you do not own the means of production, technically, okay? I'm not the smartest person on these Marxist words, but when we think of this in sort of the internet age, or sort of the YouTube space, we have to understand that when you're making content for the internet, for audiences, for a platform, for an algorithm, you do not own the means of production to making a profit. So you're still laboring. You still have to put in work, and then a lot of the times that content isn't really even yours anymore. For example, like when you put photos up on Facebook, they don't belong to you anymore. So it's alienated, meaning it's kind of disconnected from you personally, and you can't profit off of it. And there's so many ways in which being a content creator extracts and exploits resources from other people that, in a way, because of the modern age, we don't really understand it yet. Or at least we don't understand it on a mass scale like we understand how production of certain products exploits the environment. But the internet collects all of this information from people who use the internet, or companies on the internet collects information on people who use the internet. And all of that internet is being sold. What videos you click on, how long you watch them, the tags on the videos, the trends, all that information about you is being sold. And that is labor. Even the people who are watching YouTube videos are providing free labor to companies that they purchase this information to better sell you products. So if you have passive streams of income by content creation, you are merely just contributing to this whole system that is continuing to exploit all this information that your audience is providing, and at the same time, you don't own the platform. Okay, so that's the third thing I want to talk about. So in order for, if we're thinking about communism, for example, a communist example of YouTube would be a content creator owned content distribution system. Okay, so YouTubers don't own YouTube. The YouTube executives own YouTube. And so they are actually making money on top of the money that, yes, content creators make through AdSense, etc. But they get a lot of money from these companies that put ads on their website too. So that's a thing. I have heard of another type of video platform. I think it's called Nebula. I've seen some YouTubers promote it and say that a lot of their videos are on Nebula because they're more educational, and I definitely do agree with that educational videos, kind of like the stuff that you would watch on like PBS, the public broadcasting system, like PBS or NPR, those are for public awareness and education, and not to sell people products like the commercial networks are. And so I'm really interested in those platforms, as the future of how we can make content platforms more equitable to people who make content. Because the reason why a lot of content creators move over to those platforms is because companies that display ads before and during videos, choose what kind of videos to put their ads on. And so certain videos will be more profitable to the YouTuber than others, depending on the content they make. And so if you're more likely to make content that is more marketable or can more easily sell products to people, then you're going to make more money off of that. So that is sort of my first section on the problem with passive income as a solution. Okay, so secondly, I want to sort of address, maybe this should have gone first, but I already wrote it down in my book as the point number 2. But this is how I sort of understand, what the people who are making videos titled "I Do Not Dream of Labor" are really trying to get to. First of all, I want to make it clear that people who make these videos come from a specific perspective in life. And I think that when we watch, not just watch, but consume any sort of media, read articles, blog posts, etc., we have to have in mind the context that is not explicitly shared with us in the content that informs that person's perspective. I think this is very important when you're in academia and you're researching and you're being on the lookout for biases. Anyways, I think that what the people who make these videos is really critiquing is specifically a middle class ideology that basically prioritizes careers and career achievements, over many other areas of life. And the reason why I forget if I even mentioned in the beginning of this video that I hesitated to make this a separate video is because I'm working on another video about work and purpose, especially in the nonprofit space, and how certain jobs that supposedly have purpose are pretty much bullshit. It's just busy work, paper pushing, form filling. Yeah, the form fillers. I recently watched Hunt of the Wilderman again, and yes, the form fillers. Oh, I just also want to note that, and this is something my partner mentioned when I was ranting about this earlier to him, is that certain jobs, especially those middle class white collar jobs that folks who make these videos probably come from in their 9-to-5 outside of YouTube life, those jobs are the ones that are bullshit, to be blunt. And these are the ones where people have to toil and toil and toil, but it's meaningless because it actually contributes nothing to society. Because does society really need another social media strategist? Or do they need another person to design billboards? I don't know why I keep thinking of advertising jobs. I just think that a lot of this is around, a lot of YouTube, a lot of content creation is around advertisement. So I think that's why I'm thinking about it. But so I think that a lot of people who are really successful on YouTube have a background in that sort of field, in sort of media and design and advertising. Anyways, that's a tangent. When in reality, there are many, many jobs out there that are more working class, where people are exploited and are not paid enough. And so it's not necessarily worth it for them to really just quit their 9-to-5 because they're living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, I know myself working part-time in a working class job, although I do have security because I have savings and I have worked bullshit jobs in the past that have made much more money, I do know of people who need hours to pay their rent. That is the reality for so many people out there. And those jobs are the very ones that are actually necessary to society because they provide essential services. People who deliver things, people who provide food, people who maintain hygiene, things that are very important. Okay, I don't want to get too into it because I'm going to talk more about it in my other video. So if you want to, hear more of my thoughts around that, please make sure to stick around, subscribe to my channel. And then secondly, this critique of the people that make these videos are critiquing how much time we spend at work, which I agree is a ridiculous amount of time. No one should be working 40 hours a week just to merely survive. Okay, so now I want to share some of my personal thoughts on passive income as a content creator. So by passive income, I'm referring to things like ads, sponsorships, even investing in the stock market, and also investing in real estate. So I really don't personally want to be entangled in the system of ads and then to some extent sponsorships, because I feel as though my content is explicitly anti-capitalist, and I don't want to be complicit in selling people products. Even if I like those products myself, even if I'm still, participating in capitalism in my daily life because I have a job and I have to buy things, I just feel like personally it's antithetical for me as someone who has influence to be associating with certain brands. I do know that there are certain people on YouTube who do sponsorships if they don't do ads, and I get it's like a personal choice, because for me, like, I at least have another job that has income, so I don't need to depend on sponsorships. But if it does get to a point where, if I have options, I would prefer not to have ads or sponsorships, and I'll get to what those options can be in a second. Secondly, I want to talk very briefly about investing in either like stocks or Bitcoin, which I know nothing about because I barely understand actual money, and also real estate, because these are things that basically when you put money in towards, theoretically you get more money back. How? Magic, because money is fake. Basically, what I mean by that is that these activities are based on speculation, which means I did not look this up. This is from my memory of what the definition of speculation is, but which basically means that people believe that it will be more valuable in the future, so that's why things get more expensive. Yeah, that's basically how like real estate works. So that kind of system really depends on the ups and downs of capitalism, like the recessions and the depressions and then the growth phases, and for people to take on things like loans and like just the predatory stuff, that banks do. It actually really depends on that in order to make money, because that's how banks make money, is by like charging all these fees and stuff. I'm just disgusted thinking about it. So that's personally why I don't want to participate in these things. Like, I also have like a personal sort of reason why I don't want to be involved in the stock market, just because of personal like family issues that had happened in the past related to it. And I do have savings accounts, and I have tried investing in the past with a very small amount, but I really don't trust it, and I don't trust capitalism, so I'm not really trying to do that. And so I believe that as a content creator, I think that one of the best ways that people can support themselves is through something like a Patreon. And for myself, I have a Ko-fi page, so you can actually donate to my Ko-fi page right now and help support me, because I only make $15 an hour before tax. So, if you want more videos, I have to be able to take days off. I was always wondering, how does that work? How does supporting people on Patreon actually work. And it confused me when I had like a salaried job that had a regular paycheck that had paid vacation. But now that I have an hourly wage job, I get it. If someone donates $300 to me, I don't have to work for 1 week because that's how much I make in 1 week. So I could spend that time making videos. So knowing those exact precise calculations does make a lot of sense to me, and I hope that motivates you to donate to my Ko-fi page. But I think that in a way that is how a lot of sort of things with more socialist or communist values operate, is through like community sponsored membership based donations. And I don't need to get into the nonprofit industrial complex right now. I do think that that is something that I would love to have if I had the option. I would definitely want to prefer to sustain myself via community support rather than investing, sponsorships, and ads. Okay, so fourthly, I want to talk about the question of how do we survive without working? So I feel like what people are just like not really saying directly is communism. And I don't mean like state capitalism, state-sponsored capitalism. That's not what I believe communism is. Basically, it means that the people, the workers, the people own the things. They own the things that we need to survive. They own the means of production. And I'm not going to go and explain all that because I don't think I have a very proper grasp on it to be able to do that. So I'm not trusting myself to explain it. But I can explain sort of what I believe to be a smaller scale stepping stone to communism, which is mutual aid. And I think because the word is so used nowadays, I think what I'm going to call it is mutually invested survival. And that is just to say that it's basically like this bartering concept. Like if there's something that I have that someone else needs, I can be willing to give for it, and I know that this person has something that they can contribute to my survival or something that I need. And I also just don't want to like limit it to survival, because I don't think that we should be aiming for survival, but we should be aiming to have pleasures in life. And at the same time, I also believe that we should be reprogramming ourselves to need less to have pleasure in life. Like we don't need excess, and I think that's where some of the aspects of minimalism can be very useful, but I'm not like an extreme minimalist at all, as you can kind of see from my messy desk. But that, if someone has a house, and if someone has a house but I have a car, we can come together and we can mutually survive, for example. Or maybe I would just, like gluten-free chocolate cake in exchange for using my car. Like sometimes that's all I need. And then I also want to address the question of, if no one's going to work, how is anything ever going to get done in society? And my response to that is that I truly believe that if the work is meaningful and people are invested in maintaining a certain quality of life, then it will be done by someone. There's going to be someone that wants it to get done because they believe it's going to be important. Now, the thing that's going to be different about it is that it doesn't have to be a wage job. Like you don't have to report to a boss and earn an income on it and everything, but it'll be, honestly, you will do that job, you will do that function in society because you believe that it's necessary and it brings you a sense of accomplishment that it's done, and you want to do something that's meaningful to you. Even certain jobs that we would consider to be undesirable, I think that there would be someone who would want to do it, or at least volunteer to do it because they believe that it's important for society. Like, why why do nonprofits exploit volunteers if that wasn't the case? Why are there people who volunteer to like clean up trash off highways if people didn't actually want to do that because they believe that that's important for the world, right? And the other thing that's going to be different about this is that there will be no like 40-hour work week. I think that, you know, certain things need to get done, and they're going to get done in the time that they're done, which is less than 40 hours, because you'll have less of the bullshit part of the jobs there, and then you get to do whatever you want. And possibly that there's going to be more people available to do things because there'll be more access to education for people to learn certain things, and there'll be more people who can manage the water waste systems because they have the scientific training to do that, and we can redistribute labor. Something that I do want to address in this is this idea of like self-sufficiency and individualism, because there's no way that like one person is going to be able to provide everything that they need for themselves. The world that we live in, the pace that we live in, the advancement of technology that we live in, right? Like that would mean everyone has to like build their own iPhone, you know, or whatever. It wouldn't be an iPhone, it would be a smartphone. They would have to build their own smartphone that would be able to connect to their own internet, that they would build themselves and maintain themselves. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. So that's why I think that like in a liberated world, we are going to still be like so connected that there will have to be some sort of system that is maintained through like mutuality and trust, so that we can like continue to live the kind of life that we want to live, although maybe in less excess. Okay, so now we have reached the end of my video, and I just have a few questions that I want to propose to you all who feel very drawn to this idea of I do not dream of labor, or I do not dream of working, or whatever. Okay, so here are the questions. What do we do beyond a personal transformation to our relationship to work to transform society to create a world where everyone, regardless of privilege and access to resources, are not obligated to work? And how do we do this without maintaining or replicating capitalism? So I'll leave my thoughts there, and I would love to hear yours or read yours in the comments. It feels good to get these things off my chest, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!